Look who we pull off the red carpet. Hockey Hall of Famer, inducted in 2020, Kenny Holland. Kenny, you know Pavel Datsyuk as well as anybody. You knew him before we knew him. You were the GM of the Red Wings when you drafted him. Pretty late, I might add. Was it obviously to steal the draft?
Well, Håkan Andersson's really responsible for him. Our European scout, he had a good touch. And at the draft table, I'm sitting there, and I get a little tap on the shoulder, and Pav said, I got somebody. Håkan Andersson said, Pavel Datsyuk. So I said, sure, let's go with it. And the rest is history. He's one of the greatest Red Wings to ever play the game. He played in Europe a couple of years after we drafted him, but a great two-way player and an incredible competitor.
Ken, usually when you mention where you drafted Pavel Datsyuk or Nick Lidstrom, you said if we were that smart, we would have taken them earlier. No, but I'm not going to bring that up. But with the Pavel Datsyuk, Gino and I were talking about this, but he's the guy that made the takeaway magical. And can you walk us through what it was like to watch him night in, night out on both sides of the puck?
Well, he was just a 200-foot player. He was probably better defensively than he was offensively because he sort of was like the old, the older Russians that we had, Larionov and Slava Fetisov, the mentality of playing defense first. And, so the takeaways from behind, he was always high in the zone. He didn't dive in deep, kill penalties, block shots, win draws. Didn't extend his shifts, but he had a couple of 97-point seasons. I think he had a couple of 87-point seasons. I just think the best two-way player of his era, and certainly we never missed the playoffs the entire. I think it was 14 seasons.
Yep.
Pav was a Red Wing, so just a great two-way player.
I want to ask you about the 2002 team, the Stanley Cup team, Pav's first Stanley Cup in his rookie season. He's now the 10th player on that team to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Yourself in the Hall of Fame, Scotty Bowman in the Hall of Fame. Are we ever going to see something like that again from one team?
Not with a salary cap.
Not with a salary cap. Yeah. I remember we lost in 01 to LA Kings in round one. Jimmy Devellano and I went over to meet with Mr. and Mrs. Illich, and we still felt that we had a legitimate cup contending team, but that we needed to do something with some impact. Obviously, it's started out, kind of got the word that Dom Hasek wanted out of Buffalo, and he had down to 2 or 3 teams. We were one of them. Spent some time convincing Dom and Rich Winter that we still had some juice in the tank, and we got him, Dom, and then we needed to replace Slava Kozlov, who was in the deal. We signed Luke Robitaille. We signed late July Brett Hull, and I remember we won the President's
Hall of Famer.
I remember we won the President's Trophy with about 10 games to go. We started to rest some guys, and before we knew it, we were down 2 games to nothing to Vancouver, and we were getting a little panicky. We went out. We won 2 games in Vancouver and got over the hump. But no chance in the era today with the salary cap. You're able to put those type of players together.
Kenny, I really appreciate you taking the time to step off the red carpet for this. Hockey Hall of Famer, Ken Holland.